What's up, addicts? In this video, we're going to be breaking down the DC Defenders at LA Wildcats for Week 3, going over all of the fantasy start sits in this one and giving you guys a game preview. If you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get started right now. Alright guys, so pretty excited about this one. I think this is going to be one of the more interesting and fun games on the week. Overall, I think this is going to be a much higher scoring game than people are expecting. Over-under right now is 43.5. I think this game has the best chance of hitting the over of every game this week. Now, right now, the spread is favoring the away team Defenders by 8.5, but I wouldn't be surprised, even though I still think the Defenders will win, I wouldn't be surprised if the Wildcats end up beating that and keeping this game a lot closer. So let's go through and break down the individual positions here, give you guys some advice on who we're going to start this week. Now, we'll start the away team, the Defenders. There's no team that's allowing more passing yards than the Wildcats right now, and there's no quarterback that's thrown more passing yards than Cardale Jones. I think Cardale Jones is actually the number one option in all formats this week, even over Bill Walker. Now, on the running back side, this situation turned south for fantasy real quick. In a game in which the Defenders won 27-0, neither Pumphrey nor Presley had a fantastic fantasy day. They're both okay, but they still very much split the work. In week 1, we saw more of Jarrell Presley. In week 2, we saw more of Donnell Pumphrey. And Donnell Pumphrey was honestly involved in more of the higher leverage situations last week, so it's looking like Pumphrey might actually be trending towards taking over this backfield, but it's been such a split right now, and honestly they haven't been running very effectively. Has a lot to do with the fact that the offensive line has not been healthy. So this is a situation where I'm trying to wait it out until A, the offensive line heals, and B, they figure out how they want to deploy these guys. So if you can keep them on your bench this week, probably be a good idea. On the wide receiver side, Rashad Ross is always open. Seriously, go watch the replay. I post them on my channel. You can see the past 2 games, every time Rashad Ross is on the field, he's just finding ways to get wide open. Sometimes Cardale Jones just misses him like he did in the fourth quarter when the backup tight end got a touchdown. Rashad Ross was like wide open in the end zone. So I love Rashad Ross this week, kind of a revenge game, if you will, going against a team that traded him to the Defenders. I don't think there's any way they're going to ignore how ridiculously good he has looked. Also, I do think both Eli Rogers and DeAndre Tompkins are great starts this week. They're hogging up a lot of the work for everyone else, so there's not really any other receiver we're starting here. On the tight end side, now Kari Lee definitely took a step back this week. He almost had another big touchdown, but he got called for pushing off, and he had an offensive pass interference that took away that touchdown from him. So at this point, Kari Lee is pretty much he either scores you a touchdown and you're happy, or he's going to have a disappointing week. But I mean, there's a lot of tight ends that don't even give you that, so he's still worth the start. On the defensive side, this is the number 1 fantasy defense right now, but they're going to get tested against Josh Johnson. They've only played Brandon Silvers and Matt McGloin, so definitely a bit inflated right now. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game, so I think the Defenders D, they can still be started, but they should see a much lower ceiling this week, not expecting nearly as many mistakes from Josh Johnson. Speaking of, Josh Johnson made his debut on Sunday, and while he definitely was a bit rusty after missing a lot of time in the offseason with his thigh injury, he still posted a respectable 89.8 quarterback rating. This will be a tougher test for him, but I think the Wildcats offense definitely showed a lot of promise on Sunday, and they should have won that game if Elijah Hood did not fumble the ball twice in the red zone. Now, speaking of the running backs, this backfield is kind of a mess. Elijah Hood is the only running back in the XFL to have a greater than 50% share of the rushing attempts for his team, but he also fumbled the ball twice in the red zone, and he's dealing with an injury this week. So if Hood plays, I'm probably not playing anyone, but I wouldn't be surprised if Larry Rose saw an uptick in attempts and targets this week. He's looked really good in the few times that he's had the ability to touch the ball, so definitely a sneaky DFS play. All right, on the wide receiver side, Nelson Spruce leads the league in targets with 24. He leads the team in target share with 31.6%, higher than any other player, and then he also has the most yards in 192. He's basically playing like Michael Thomas in for the XFL, and just that he's leaps and bounds better than every other receiver in terms of all of those metrics. Jordan Smallwood is also still posting respectable numbers, had 6 targets 2 weeks in a row, also worth a start. If I need to start a third wide receiver for DFS, I would go with Levante Whitfield. He's getting a few carries out of the backfield, and he's looked pretty good when he's had the opportunity. So if you really need a high upside play, he's only like $3,500 in DraftKings. So definitely an interesting name to look at there. On the tight end side, Brandon Barnes has looked good when he's had a chance. He was limited with a knee injury this week, but it's looking like he's still trending towards playing. He just hasn't gotten nearly the targets that we were hoping for. I think this could end up being a better week for him, though. Again, as Josh Johnson kind of gets a little bit more time to figure this offense out, and if DC is scoring point after touchdown after touchdown, there's going to need to be a lot more offense on LA. I look again for this to be a very high-scoring game, so I'm trying to start up any players here that I can on both sides of the ball that have the ability to score, and Brandon Barnes definitely gives us that. And then for the fantasy defense, just no. Don't play the Wildcats defense against Cardale Jones and the defenders. So like I said at the start of this video, I think that the Wildcats can actually beat the spread, but I do think the defenders will win this game. Should be the best chance of hitting the over this week of 43.5. I think that this game could end up being like a 30-26 or 34, somewhere in that range. Should be plenty of touchdowns to go around. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you check out my website at fantasyaddictionnetwork.com for rankings, waiver advice, trade advice, stats, everything that you need to be able to manage a fantasy league in the XFL. It's there for you guys. It's free. Check it out. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for more XFL content daily, and I will see you in the next video.